What's there to hold in the light of this moon? My mind keeps searching, but my heart decides. Thoughts can be cruel, they're not mine to own. The space unravels when you let go. What's yours, it ain't mine. That energy goes today. The feather in the fire will blow it home your way.
I've travelled down to London and I've come to stay with Zeb. And tomorrow we're having a big day on the bikes, 160k, and we're heading down into Sussex, past Box Hill, and we're paying Ultimate Sports Engineering a visit and getting a factory tour. And they produce exposure lights and all the ultimate components. So that's going to be fun and good to see where all those are made. I was a big fan of the exposure lights.
In the rain, coming off the conservatory roof, it's tipping it down. And it has done for the last 10 days. And we're going to go and ride to exposure lights because Josh is very luckily sponsored by them. And that's going to be the theme of the day. We're going to get really wet and I'm going to be moaning, but it will be fun.
And it looked like I was wearing like, what are they called?
Science glasses.
Science glasses, yeah. We're doing Hog Hill, it's like North London crit. And it was forecast to rain and I was like, oh, I know what's really pro. Is wear clear glasses in a race so I can still wear my glasses and it didn't rain. So I just looked like an idiot wearing clear arms, clear lens. Bright sunshine. Right whopper. Some things never change, eh?
So that's the plan today.
Yeah.
Put clear glasses on it, it'll not rain.
You've called it.
Well, these glasses are probably nice. Yeah. So, currently heading south from London, and brought Zev along to give me a bit of a tow and a train all the way to Bury Mill Farm, which is the exposure HQ and where they manufacture all their lights in the UK. So it's going to be fun to go and have a factory tour and see where they're made. You think London is Richmond Park and busy traffic, but then you get out into Sussex and south and it's just another world. Yeah. It's got some good training roads around here for you, Zeb. I mean, it's kind of one of those funny things. It's come back to an extent, but obviously in a much less.
Yeah, way.
Yeah.
And there's an alien on the box, and I just thought it was cool. As like a 10-year-old, I was like, this is so sick.
Yeah.
But I never realised that it was like an actual company.
Yeah. Well, the
as a
alien,
child, yeah.
The history of the alien. I'll show you actually. Just this here. So you see the little multicoloured bit. That's part of the alien seat clamp.
Okay.
And because of the shape of it. It's, you know, the Alien films?
Yeah.
That's where the name comes from, because it's like, you know, the Alien films and,
I remember that seat post.
But we still do it. So we still actually do the Alien clamp and a post with that on top.
Of these,
That's it. So we still do it. We've obviously slightly improved and tweaked the design over time. But yeah, it is still a popular one. We've got 3 different seat post clamps. We've got that, we've got the Duro, and then we've got the Evo. And the Evo is the one that basically fits to pretty much any setup. The Alien and the Duro are kind of specific saddle rail size and stuff like that, but we do lots. But yeah, quite a few of the products in here are obviously now discontinued. You know, we like the actually
saying that, the skewers we still have stock of, but we just don't sell them or don't produce them anymore. And the hubs and things we don't do, wheels we don't do anymore. But various bits and bobs we do. Bikes and things like that, including some one-offs and stuff we did. I think, on the right-hand side you can see the Bejeweled. So I'm Sam Hanson, I'm Sales and Marketing Executive for Ultimate Sports Engineering, predominantly on the exposure light side of things.
Hi, I'm Mark Swift, I'm Head of Sales and Marketing at USE, predominantly exposure lights on the bicycle side. USE started in 1990 and we were the first inventor of the suspension seat post. If you remember in the 90s, mountain bikes didn't have any suspension, so having a suspension seat post actually took a lot of the grind out of riding a bike. In years to come we moved into lights, and that is basically because we did a race, 24-hour race, and after the race I had a conversation that these lights are pretty useless, aren't they? Must be able to find some better for the next year. Went away, did loads of research and actually couldn't find anything better. So the mentality of Roger, who is basically our owner and chief designer, is if you can't find it, make it yourself. So he started the process of designing lights, and in 2005 we came out with our first exposure lights, basically for the 24-hour race, which was mayhem. Remember, it's in the UK. No, it's not Newnham Park. It's not. Which is why I was going to say Newnham Park, but no. So Mountain Mayhem was an annual 24-hour mountain bike race. And in COVID years it's waned off, and now they're just trying to resurrect it now. So, and with lots of our origins are from cross-country endurance racing, and that's where we started. And that's probably we still support nearly all of the 24-hour mountain bike races now get involved in gravel races. The kind of stuff you're doing as well, the sort of long endurance racing, which is sort of taking, I probably think, that to the next level on.
So your mountain bike bar
actually, what light are you running? Just
so I'm running the 6-pack.
The big boy.
Yeah.
Which actually, bizarrely, so the 6-pack is a great light because it's amazing for your short enduro riding. That will give you 3 hours, up to 5,250 lumens, or will run anywhere between 2 and 36 hours. Which means it's great for that endurance rider who wants the battery to last longer, but maybe doesn't need as many lumens. So when you're running at 36 hours, you're probably going to be running around about 800 lumens constant output, which you've experienced on your longer rides. But that gives you the satisfaction of knowing you've got a massive battery capacity. It may be slightly more weighty, but so this is, for its size, it's extremely versatile. And it's got something called Reflex technology. So Reflex technology basically works from the use of accelerometers and thermistors. So their accelerometers pick up movement of a light with in any direction, because it's a gyroscopic accelerometer, but they then talk to thermistors, and thermistors are taking constant readings of the light's temperature. So the cooler the light, when comparing to the ambient temperature, the faster the light is going, in theory, which means it will automatically boost up. So if you suddenly hit a hill, going downhill, it will automatically give you the lumens you need. So if you're tired and weary, like you would be on a massive, great big endurance ride, you don't need to think, I need light, because automatically it will be your saviour and boost up.
So that's not a setting, that's always...
It's a setting, so we have 3 different programs for that with different run times. So we've got 3, 6 and 12 hour burn times on the Reflex setting. Then after that you can go into any manual program, and then you can set it between 2 and 36 hours. And that gives you the control, so especially if you're more the endurance kind of person who wants to guarantee that kind of run time, doesn't want to think about anything else because they're sort of getting close to exhaustion, then you've got that.
What I love about it is it has a timer on it. And you always know how long you've got left.
So and that's the perfect thing about it. So we've got the 2 different ways of telling the run time. So you've got the actual timer itself, but then also you've got a traffic light system. So when it goes through different stages, you might not be able to read that says high, because it's bouncing around, but that will then go green flashing, amber flashing, red flashing. So it means that you still have a knowledge of what's going on. So basically we've got 3 different lights that have the Reflex, 4 different lights have the Reflex technology. So we've got the 6-pack, which I said was 5,250, the Max D, which is 4,400, the Toro, which is 3,400, and the Race, which is 2,400. So all having that Reflex technology, all running exactly the same programs for burn times and run times, just having different LED and different beam patterns to kind of complement different riding styles. So the rear, we have 3 different lights, but 2 different technologies, which gives us 6 lights. So we have the Trace, Ours, we have the new boosts and we have the blaze. So these are all running very similar lumen outputs, so 75, 80 and 80. But the major difference in these is the burn time. So this is anywhere between 3 and 24 hours, and these two are basically anywhere between 6 and 48 hours.
Yeah, which is huge.
Huge, yes. So and these basically are very similar in specification, just different forms for people's different requirements or love of the look of the light. And also, if you're riding in a big group, which you might not do as a solo rider, it will, if there's a mode which means if you pull in behind you, it will actually dim on peloton mode.
So you're not blinding the person behind you.
One of the biggest problems we used to have was your lights are brilliant, but the problem is they're too bright, and the guy behind's always complaining that he's being blinded. So we put in a feature to stop that.
Yeah.
Lots of our updates and technologies are created through consumer feedback. It's all about how can we're all riders, but it's how can we make the lights better for other riders.
Yeah. Just like you say, word of mouth. People go, "Oh, that's good," and where'd you get that from? I think a lot of people are sometimes put off by the price, because obviously the price point is quite high, but it's not just the quality of the lights and what they do and the functionality. It's also the fact that they're all backed up by the 2-year warranty as standard, the fact that we've got a service team here that will look after lights up to 16 years old. Yeah, we keep them going, and we're great believers in keeping lights going.
I washed my bike, get washed when it stopped working, and I was like, this is absolutely hopeless.
Yeah.
Whereas I've had my rear tracer for like 4 years. As far as I'm aware, it still works the same as when the day I bought it. So
Good stuff.
yeah,
And if it doesn't,
send it.
drop us a line and we'll get it sorted for you. Yeah. This is kind of a bit messy, so forgive us the fact that it is a bit messy, but this is kind of where the magic happens in terms of production. So everything is produced here. The rather scruffy area just here is our kind of service and warranty team. One of them is actually away today, hence he's left it in a bit of a mess. Apologies for that. But yeah, basically all the lights that come in that need repairing get done here, because as I said, we're great believers in keeping lights going. Why throw a light in the bin if it's perfectly fixable and usable, and we like people to keep using lights for many, many years. There we go, yeah. So we get them on and we literally do a physical burn test, so we can say we tested it and it will last 2 hours to 36 hours as it should, or it's not quite lasting, so we can update the battery. But also every light that leaves the battery gets burn tested before it goes out as well. So we're confident that everything runs to the stated run times that the battery should. Yeah.
So with like Chinese lights, you get them that are similar lumen, but they obviously like deteriorate a lot faster than exposure do.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, one of the things that we're very, very particular about is sourcing the very, very best lithium-ion batteries that are available. We do get those from China and other countries, but as I say, everything comes back here and all gets produced here on the production line, on the factory floor. And it all gets tested, so we are very, very confident that when the lights leave the building, they will run to the stated run times, and they'll also run for the duration of their life as well. And again, if you get 3-4 years down the line and you feel that your battery isn't performing as it used to, if you've dropped 10-15% on that, then we're very happy for them to come back in. We encourage people to send them back in, and we can put a new battery in very, very cheaply to keep them going. Really. So. Yeah, that's
so people just post them back to here and then...
Yeah, that's the process. So basically they get in touch with the service team will send them out a form to fill in, and then they post the light back in, and normally within a week, it's normally a couple of days, certainly within a week, we'll get the light back out to people, and generally speaking, touch wood, people are pretty happy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you're happy to do that with 10-year-old lights?
Yeah, we can do that with lights up to 16 years old. The only reason we can't go further, so Exposure as a brand started in 2008. The only reason we can't go back quite that far is because the actual charging system changed a few years ago, and so we can only go back as far as that charging system change, because we just don't have the kit left. But most people aren't running lights more than 16 years old. There are still some out there, amazingly, yeah.
Well, people buy Chinese lights and run them for a year and then they're trashed.
That's it.
Whereas people have Exposure lights and they last for years, so you're actually spending more in the start, but then in the long run you're actually saving money.
Totally. I mean, that is our complete ethos, really, is that yes, it's an investment buying one of our lights. They're not the cheapest out there. You can buy much cheaper lights for sure, but our lights will last. You know, our lights will do a job for you for many, many years. They should be completely reliable. They'll look after you. So yes, it's a big outlay in the first instance, but that outlay will last you. So if you were to, you know, buy the equivalent cheap light, you might have to buy that 3 or 4 times in the lifespan of an exposure light.
As soon as you're ready, I've got to push this blue button. I just like staring at it. CO2 laser etcher down there, but that's to do more like the acrylic stuff, not the metal stuff itself. So yeah, so most 90% of the lights we come up to design here, we design it here, and then I get sent the file, we locate it and do it.
Awesome.
Quite easy to do, but once you know how. But there's certain settings you have to go through and just make sure it looks crisp and clean, and it's not, because the way the laser is, it works at an optimal point where the laser is. So if it's not at that point, it will sort of like fade away and start missing the edges and stuff. So it's just you just have to set it up correctly and make sure it's all good to go.
So we're down here making bodies for lights, parts for the seat posts, and we bring those in conjunction with other parts we bring from all around the world. Like carbon comes from Taiwan, predominantly because in the UK we can't afford to compete with the Taiwanese expertise in carbon layout. But all of our bars and products are our own designs and our own tooling, so we don't buy anything bespoke off the so we don't buy anything standard off of the shelf. Everything is bespoke.
We've now left exposure. I've put away the big camera in my bag and it's not coming out because it's wet. And we should get back pretty quickly. About 80k on the way back. Me and Sam are both starving. What time is it now? Like 2, 3 o'clock? Yeah. And we've not had any lunch because we're in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, huge tailie.
But we have a tailwind.
Yeah.
We've averaged 38k an hour since we left.
We're currently like 4.5 hours in without having eaten, so. But we've made it. Move the heating a bit. But we're in Billinghurst. It is miserable.
Ready for food? I'll go and get you some food.
There's a pizza plant over there.